Hello, this is Eric from RC Monster Garage. Today what we're going to do, we're going to go over some 3D printers, how they actually work and still working after more than a year. This one is fairly cheap. It's a Monoprice printer. They were selling those on Amazon for about $200 or so. It was very basic. It's kind of, you put the card in it and it just runs. And this is the device after probably a year and a half. I always have to do a lot of change and fix a lot of things on it. The extruder always getting stuck. The table, the flat table, the heat bed on it, the wires was so bad and keep disconnected. So this one, I would say, if you're willing to work on it and learn for the $200, this was a very good deal. And it's still performing, it's still printing right now. I'm gonna get close to it a little bit. It still print fairly good, and this is one of the printer. I'm gonna show 3 different ones that I picked. Let's go to the next one and see the next one. Now, before we go to the next one, on this one I can just design anything in Tinkercad or any other software, and I put the card right here on the side, and the machine don't need to get hooked up to any computer or anything, so it's very easy to work with. So this is a big plus. Also, when you do those, you have a place here for your filament, and you have here a little Snoopy turning while you have to 3D print it, of course, while you see that your filament is actually running in. If it's not turning, you know that there is a problem. So you can see right now that he's changing the angle, so you know that actually it's working. And this is the Monoprice. Let's go and look at another one that I got. The other one you have to build as a kit. It was a Tevo Tarantula. Let's look at it, and then we're gonna look at one of the first 3D printer called Bukobot. See how this one still performed. And this one is a Tevo Tarantula. It's about a year and a half old. It was a nightmare to build. The reason it was a nightmare to build, because all those parts you have to pre-print it with another printer in order to build this. The parts that the factory gave you was very bad. You need to do the support, you need to do this, and now you see it's working fine. And this is after, again, about a year and a half. I changed 2 board, 2 motors. You have to change the Z axis roller. They're not working, and it's a mess. And then you have the control board here and my control table that is you can move it to wherever you want, and it's give you kind of all the data. And right now I'm printing something, and the printing is very smooth. I think that this is kind of giving you a very smooth print only if you set it up 100%, and it takes forever to do. I don't think my printer is 100%. I think it's probably about, I would say 70% working right, because it keeps changing the angles. Each time you start printing, you have a different problem that occur with this. That's it. This is the comparison between 3D printer. Now the next one will be the Bukobot, but this one is actually the Tevo Tarantula. Just so you see, after more than 1 year, some of those machines still working. See you in the next video, or actually the next printer. Okay, now this is the older version of what they used to call the Bukobot. It's a company called Maker used to make it. It's all 3D printed parts to create this 3D printer machine. The extruder was coming right out of the top head over here, and this will not take a card directly to it. You will need to have a computer, and you will have to do a couple action. Let's try to get both of them at the same time. Let's see. Okay, so you have to set it up whatever software you want. Then you have to export it to another Repetier software. On the Repetier software, you have to go and tell the printer first. You have to slice it with Cura so you know that it's gonna work. And then you have to go to manual control, and first you have to home the axis, and everything gonna go back home before it start printing. And this one was cool because it was having a dual Z, so it means that left and right there was a movement, and it was working pretty smooth, even though this is very old. This is from 2012, and it's working pretty nice. The print quality is not as high as I wanted to see, but this is just working fine. And now I'm gonna go back to the software over here, but again you need for this PC computer or a Mac, and then I'm gonna go and press start printing. And after I already set up the heat, now it's gonna start the print, and let's see the beginning of this to see how the quality gonna be of the beginning of the print, if it's even it is good. Yeah, it's starting with inner and outer circle. I'm gonna give it a minute and come back and show you the result of what I'm trying to print right now. Other printer doing a much smoother work. This was one of the first printers, and again this was a Kickstarter that some guy started. I don't remember his name. He started doing it. It was a great machine, I think. They were pretty expensive. They were about, I think, $1,200. And this is kind of about the evolution. If you remember, the previous one that we showed a couple minutes ago was the Tevo Tarantula, that you get a kit and you have to assemble everything. This was the same deal, just much older version. But I think if you're gonna combine between the two printers, the Tevo Tarantula and this one, you will be very happy with one good 3D printer. The fact that this thing right now, I just have the filament hanging. I don't have to have the cover channel above it, and you can just have your filament hanging on the top here, whatever pieces that you can put, small piece to do something small. So you see, as I started, it's doing a nice circle so far. And in addition, this was having this weird kind of, I would call it kind of a chain link system versus the belt that they're more modern that they're using today. And everything was kind of put together with kind of zip ties and small screws to put everything together. It zip ties everything on those old printers. So let's let it finish and do another video about what we got on this print. But you need all this versus the small printer that have everything in them today. Don't forget to like and subscribe meanwhile while we're waiting for this to print. Okay, so we are 5 minutes into the print. I'm printing this cone, and this is how it looks after about 7 minutes, not exactly 5. See it when it's done. I think another 2 minutes. We will be back. Okay, so this is finishing right now. It's doing the top layer of the cone, and then we're going to pull it out and look at the quality, because the quality of this thing is okay, so is not as nice quality of the other printer, but I think it's more related to the software, not actually to how the printer is working. It's gonna finish in a second. I see just finishing the tip, and then we're gonna be smarter about how good this print is. And this is a solid print. This is not empty inside. I put it on 100% filament, so I can already see that the top is a little bit shinier because it's melting it much more. That's it, it's done. And I can pull this thing out. It's still a little bit warm. I'm gonna let it cool down a little bit. And there it is. It's a small solid cone I printed. It's gonna be easier to do this. It was a quick print just to show what you're gonna get. And this is with the oldest kind of Kickstarter Bukobot. Don't forget to like and subscribe. RC Monster Garage.